Welcome to Heal Yourself Connection, where it's all about self-discovery. How well do you know yourself? A question that I didn't know the answer to. So I started with self-discovery and came to the conclusion there are so many different ways for it. Luckily, there are also many different people for it, so each one can connect to the way that feels right for them. So I want to learn more about this and share this with you. Are you ready for asking the question, who am I? I am, so let's do this! Welcome to episode 3! Yay! I love this! So, today we have Jessica from Empowered Partnering with us. Jessica has such a big heart and a very unique way of seeing life. Her passion is dance. There she found this very unique way of seeing life and translated this in empowered partnering. Today we will learn more about leading, but especially about what it means to be a follower. Following is equally important as leading, and sometimes we forget that. Jessica taught me to see this beautiful way of how we are both in different situations, how we can communicate and work as a team, honor and complement each other. Communication is so important. The more open we are, the more connected we can become. I'm very excited and ready for this. So, welcome to Heal Yourself Connection. Today I have a very special guest, Jessica. I met her when I went to the EOL-Event with KLCs. And she was so wonderful of helping me because I was all alone in America, and she was like so sweet and helpful. And so thank you, Jessica, and thank you for taking this invite for the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
it's a real pleasure to see your face again. And I'm excited to learn more about Heal Yourself Connection and your mission as well. So hopefully there will be time for you to share more with us about that too.
Okay, thank you.
Excited for the opportunity to share with you some of my heart and my ideas today.
Yeah. I heard your passion for the moment is like empowered partnering. And why is it you want to bring that to the world? Like, how did it start? Or can you tell something about that? Or
Absolutely. Yes, I'd love to share. So, Empowered Partnering was born in me out of, after a long time teaching partner dancing and teaching ballroom dancing, swing and salsa, and things like that. And realizing that there are many lessons that happen through the practice of partner dancing that will apply to anyone who is not a dancer yet and may never be a dancer. Things about how we make a dance work together as a team. And there are defined roles of leading and following on the dance floor that everyone sort of accepts. Typically, the man is the leader and the woman is the follower. But there are some assumptions and misconceptions about what it takes to be a strong lead or a good follower, even within the dancing. And found the same kind of miscommunication happening in my personal life between myself and my colleagues, or myself and my boss, with family members, between me and a sibling or parents. And I realized a lot of it comes down to communication. And for a dance to work, there have to be certain ground rules and certain ways in which we allow the flow to go in a particular direction. And everyone has to kind of agree that it should go a certain way for the dance to happen, for not to stop and start and stop and start. So I found kind of inspiration from there. And
it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like wow. I never saw it like that, but indeed, it's beautiful. Beautiful. How did you combine those two and make something of it? So I'm curious. Tell me more about it. Like,
Well, I think we all have an experience every day in our life, in our relationships, whether, and we don't have to be experts to recognize if communication is working well, easily, or smoothly, or if there's a block or if you're having conflict or fighting. And I think everyone can relate to this. You don't, like I said, you don't have to be a dancer or understand or know about dancing, but there are lessons that I can translate and transfer from the dance floor back into our day-to-day living. So, for example, leading is a position of power and control, and that's the obvious interpretation. And the follower is sort of taking a passenger role. That's the typical surface interpretation. But if you ever had a fight, just a simple thing about what should we have for dinner? The person who's asking, what should we have for dinner, is putting that pressure to decide on the other person. So in a way, asking first, what should we have for dinner, is taking the position of follower, forcing the other person to be in a position of leading. Oh, you decide. What should we have for dinner?
oh,
In the world, that's called back leading. When you're trying to guide or steer your leader, but you're kind of the one controlling things from underneath. So if you put that pressure on someone else, it can be your best friend, or it can be your, boyfriend, or it can be anyone. When you say, what should we do? Which movie should we see? And you put them in position to decide. And the decision oftentimes goes, I don't care, what would you like? And that's the other person saying, no, you lead.
Oh.
So now you're not fighting over control, you're fighting over who has the pressure of the decision. And you're deciding takes longer because no one wants that pressure of deciding. So on the dance floor, for a similar example, if the leader is not making a decision and the follower has to pull or push or decide, it kind of breaks the agreement of the dance. Anyway. But this conversation is something everybody has. What do you want to do? Oh, I don't care. What do you want to do? A lot of people have these conversations.
Yeah.
It's sometimes true that you don't have an opinion, but then it's not always true. Like, when someone says, oh, let's do this, they're taking a risk being the one to decide and saying, like, I want to have Chinese for dinner. And then the other person can say, oh, I had Chinese last night, let's not do that. And they're in the position of veto, taking control still. So the person who says, what should we do, is in a lead role in a way, but they're pretending to be following, right?
Yeah.
And then the person deciding says, let's do this. And the other person can then say, no. Then they're showing they're really still in control, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's just an example in communication that's very easy and safe to talk about. Everybody understands it.
Yeah.
It's a low risk, right? And it's not, should we have a child? It's not a big conversation. It's a small, but it's one that everyone is familiar with. And in a way, it's important because the person who appears as the leader, visually, that's what you see, that person who's making the decision seems to be the leader. They're taking on risk. They're taking on the risk of being rejected. They're taking on the risk of being unpopular, of being the lead goose, right? If you're in a goose formation, one thing, I don't know if you know this about geese, when they fly in that V, they take turns being the first goose because it's most pressure on the beak.
Oh.
So they take turns being the one. And so that it's not only ever just one person, you know, it's nice when teams take a chance of not only putting that pressure on one leader, but I think the reason I'm passionate about this is in our culture, especially in America, it feels, but probably worldwide, there's a lot of pressure on the leader, and there's very little pressure at the moment on the follower. And I don't know if it should be about pressure. I think good following is ignored in our society, and it shouldn't be ignored anymore. Good following should be recognized. It should be rewarded. It should be something people want to be better at, to grow, because following isn't always easy. Of course, everyone knows leading is hard work, right? But people don't recognize following is an activity. It's not passive. It's not like being a passenger. So in a way, you're demonstrating already, just in our conversation, being an amazing follower, because you are engaged in our conversation, and there are active ways of listening, which is following, and there are passive ways. People listen waiting till their turn to speak, or they listen long enough to be able to say, yeah. But you're not. You're listening, and I feel your heart is open, and you're paying close attention. I feel like you're listening. So I think that that's an important quality in our society that's being overlooked or assumed, and it can be learned. Good following and good listening can be learned, but it has to become a priority in our society, I think.
Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful message you want to bring. And how did you discover that you wanted to bring this? Like, was it like one day, okay, this is it, I see this, the communication?
It's not one day thing. It's been building over many years. Part of what caused me to want to work toward this, in my own journey learning to dance, I decided I wanted to become a really excellent follower on the dance floor. I love it when my leader feels like he can do whatever he wants on the dance floor. Like I can read his communication clearly, that we become almost like one creature with four legs, and moving together to the music, and there's like his mind is guiding and steering, but we're having a conversation, a dialogue. I'm in the conversation, right? A lot of people think following means disappearing and not having a voice, but really good following is being part of a conversation on the dance floor. And what I found, actually, part of what created this urge in me came from kind of a low point for me. When I was managing a staff, a team of teachers, and I was feeling that pressure of being the leader of this team of teachers, and I was having frustration because some of the team were very critical of my leading, and were not very good at following my lead. And I realized then there's so much pressure on a leader, but in some ways it's unfair, because when there's success for the team, the leader always says, oh, it wasn't me, it was the team. In my head, a good leader says these things about the team. Of course, there are many egotistical leaders that take credit for everything the team does. It feels like it's always best to say, it wasn't me, it was my team. But then when things don't go well, the good leader steps up and takes the blame, right?
Yeah.
But I was feeling it was unfair in a way, because when things didn't go well, yes, I can take the blame. Maybe I was ineffective. Maybe the team didn't understand me, my communication wasn't as clear as it could be, but if you have on your team someone who's leading a rebellion or a mutiny, it doesn't matter how great of a leader you are, if there's a rebel in your team. And the thing that happens in our society, especially America, we really reward the rebel. We really think the rebel is good. We idealize the rebellion. You can just look at Star Wars, right? Rebel cause, or rebel without a cause. You know, there's so much idealizing, you know, people, and it's understandable. It's not romantic to be a sheep. No one wants to learn how to be the best sheep.
A sheep? What is a sheep?
Sheep.
A sheep? Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, so nobody wants to be the best sheep and follow along and be be a lump. And that's the thing, is people think that following is passive. People have this misunderstanding that being a good follower means you listen, you don't rebel, but being a good follow can involve a dialogue if it's done the right way. I don't know. It was frustrating as a leader. I wasn't the top of the pyramid. I was in the middle. So that was another thing, is, you know, I'm leading my team, but I'm not in control of the decisions all the time, right? And I have to lead in no matter what toward the decision from higher up. So you're in the middle, you're being squeezed up top, wants results, and down beneath you have to, you know. But I think we need to flip that triangle upside down. I think I've been a team member before, as well as in management. So no one wants to feel like they have no voice. Right? But I think people think following means you have no voice. But following is not passive or silent. It's important to have a dialogue with all the voices. So yeah, that's kind of the background of why empowered partnering is important to me, and I think can be important in this world, in the community, whether it's in business or with your spouse.
It's very beautiful that you were the leader, and in your lowest point you wanted to check the other part and investigating and learn about it, and now it's like becoming your message and spreading into the world. Like, yeah, it's beautiful that you can change from, that you have another, how I'm going to tell this in English, that you are open to see it of the other side also. You're open to learn how they see me, and so that's very beautiful, and courage, and very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. So you talked about empowered partnering. Can you tell a little bit more about that? Like, how do your coaching with that, or what do you do in?
Sure. I have held workshop here in the Bay Area. I held one workshop so far. I plan on having more workshops, because I think sometimes it's easier to do physically than just to talk about it. Everybody has different ways of learning, but I think there are some fun exercises that we can try that are kind of inspired with dancing, where you can physically experience, because I think it's one thing to have an idea or a theory, but when you put your hands and you holding another person and you move together and you see how it works, you can feel what is it to be present as a follower. Why is it important to be physically present, as opposed to just an idea of following, but to feel it in your body, I think is important. And also it's important for everybody to be both leading and following in the workshop, because I think part of what you're describing, my idea of seeing another side or being willing to think about the other side is through my training as a dance instructor, I had to learn to lead and to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very insightful comment that you made, because many of us have ideas how someone should do their job without ever having tried to do that job ourselves.
Yeah.
And once you step into that, they talk about the shoe is on the other foot, you know. Once you try it, you start to realize what it feels like. And then it gives you compassion so that when you're back in your own place, you can see it from a new point of view. So it's very important to me. People have physical experience of it. Plus, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a really unique way of it's combining the speaking and then the dancing and the feeling, and wow, if you were in Belgium, I would come.
Well, maybe that will happen. You never
Yay.
know. But yes, I have had some sessions over video conference chatting. I had a session with a couple where I coached them through some of the exercises.
Oh, cool.
So it's something that I can definitely do remotely as well. So
and they dance then or was it? Oh,
it's kind of it's a dance exercise. It's not I'm not teaching tango or foxtrot or cha-cha specific patterns, but I'm teaching principles of leading and following. That everybody gets a chance to try both. If you're interested, I would love to do a session for you and anyone you want to invite to be in the exercises together.
Thank you.
Basic ideas that make it fun and funny, and everybody gets a feeling in their body, even though I'm not there trying to be your partner, you know?
Yeah. So. Oh, it's amazing. Wow, cool. Yeah, it's beautiful. I hope you will push this through, your ideas of putting it out there, because it's really unique. And yeah, so when your next workshop starts?
I haven't scheduled it yet, but I've talked with a local yoga studio here in the East Bay, and she's open to it. So I just have to choose a date and figure out when I can host another one.
Wow.
My work schedule shifted, so I might not be able to do it the same way that I have before.
Yeah.
But hopefully she and I can work out something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
the
workshop was really fun. And because also leading and following is not like a cookie cutter, it's the same for everyone. There are certain things that are common threads, but you were saying earlier on our call that you said, I'm even shyer than you.
Yeah.
I think each of us has expectations of leading and following, but there are ways to do it that honor your nature.
Oh.
So.
Wow. Can you give an example like that, maybe?
Yeah. You see, for example, I don't know if you are familiar with the different personality types or houses of Hogwarts, or Divergent has the 5 different factions. So there are different personality types, and people who have different priorities. And the thing most people do when they take those kinds of personality testing, it's like reading your astrology. It's about me, learning about myself. And that's a really good place to start, because you're learning about your own priorities. But the best thing to do is to zoom out and learn that there are other people who have different priorities who are also valid. Some people prioritize accuracy. Some people prioritize compassion. Some people prioritize results. Some people prioritize feeling seen.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know your partner's priorities in a conversation, it can help you honor each other in a meaningful way. And you learn how best to connect with each other. And that's the thing, is you can't be a good partner if you're off balance on the dance floor or in life. So learning about yourself, and part of what I think I honor in your healing of your self-connection, a lot of people are focused on outside themselves. You need to also know inside.
Yeah.
Being inside in order to be able to connect outside. So
yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's lots of wisdom. Thank you. Damn, I'm blown away. Yeah, okay. I'm nervous and all of that. Yeah, how can empowered partnering help you? Yeah, with the question, who am I? Like, am I a leader, or am I a follower, or am I both? Or in what situation I use that part of that part? It's like, how can you help us with that?
So I think that's a perfect question to start with, because I think it's important to recognize that you all of us contain both of everything. You contain light and dark, you contain sadness, joy, you contain leading and following, you contain inside of you at any moment a potential to do both. So, and maybe something else too, maybe not just two choices, but when I think the most important time to reflect or ask yourself is anytime you feel conflict. When you feel conflict is an invitation to reflect on, am I trying to control someone else? Am I wanting them to do something different? Am I communicating what I need effectively? Am I being open and direct? Because you can be in a position of leading, but you might be hiding from your team or your spouse or your mate or whoever your friend is. You might not be sharing your truth of why you're doing the leading that you're doing, the way that you're doing it. And the more we can share with our partners, if you will, and the more openly we can share, the more connection becomes possible. I think when we hide our real reasons and we try to manipulate other people is when maybe we're ashamed of something, or maybe we're, I don't know, trying to achieve results. But I think we're almost always better the more open we are and the more connected we can become. So, you know, if you need something as a follower, for example, if your partner is leading and you feel like a welcome mat and you feel taken advantage of, and you feel taken for granted, and you feel weak, and you feel powerless, it's important to share that with them, because they might not know that you feel this way. And if you share that, you can start by saying, you're important to me, and this relationship is important to me, and it's why I feel like I need to share with you, even though it's scary and I'm a little nervous and I'm worried because I care about what you think. If you can start difficult conversations and share your heart and share your truth, and you always do the best you can to say, this is how it feels to me. When you say this, I think this, and the other person might surprise you. But somebody has to be willing to be vulnerable and take the risk and say, you know, I'm a little uncomfortable sharing this, but it's important to me because our friendship is important to me. Yeah. And I'm worried. I'm worried that if it continues the way it is, that it will damage our friendship. People want to hear the truth. It doesn't mean that we'll change what they're doing. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if you don't share your honest truth, and that's being connected to yourself and sharing that the connection with that other person is important to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it very well, and very kind also, because I think if there are emotions, it's like sometimes angry or yelling, or it's like but yeah, it also can be in a kind way, like you say, in the communication. Empowered partnering is yeah, seeing things, yeah, in a team perspective then, or am I wrong? Tell me.
No, I think that's good. I think it's a theme that you can look for in your life to see, am I always preferring to follow? Am I always preferring to lead? And what does it mean if I have these preferences? And how can I bring myself to understand the other role? If I am more comfortable with one role or the other, you can take it deeper. And also, there may be certain friendships or relationships that you always taking the lead, and other times, or maybe it's certain areas of the relationship. You know, there are people who always prefer to have control when it comes to maybe cooking in the kitchen and how things are running in there, and somebody coming in to try to help, and you say, "Get out of my kitchen."
Oh, I'm like that. Oops.
And it's fine, it's funny, but you know, then there are other places in the life cycle, and you're like, you decide, I'm okay, I don't need to know about it. And
Oh,
but it's nice to talk together with a partner and say, I noticed this about myself. I wonder how you feel. What do you think? Is this funny? Is this fun? Do you ever wish it were different?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful way of self-discovery then, but then seeing it through the eyes of dancing and partnering and I'm following now.
Yeah, it happens when you're
Oh, yeah.
in the register. It's
Yeah.
just like at the grocery store, you go through and you get to the register, and they say hi, and you say hi. You say, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? There's like a little agreement, and then nothing can happen if they don't tell you the total. You owe this much euro, and then you have to pay.
Yeah.
And then they give you the receipt. Like, there's a constant exchange of energy happening, and someone has to tell what's next, and what's next. And then the dance is over. You go to your car and it's done.
Oh,
There's
wow.
flow. So the way you choose to flow in the world can be. I notice that I change my flow, especially if I'm traveling. It's so easy when you're traveling to be frustrated or irritated if there's a delay or if there's a problem or you're missing a connection. And then who do you yell at? The poor gate agent. But they have no control and power in the situation either. They're just the base on the other side of the desk. And so it's important to me to breathe and remember that she could be me. I could be her. And she said, I'm sorry this thing is happening, but she's not in a position to change what the reality is.
No.
So to try to breathe and remember we're all one, but we can't move around like a blob. We have to take turns being giving and taking, or talking and listening. It has to be exchange. If you talk at the same time and I talk at the same time and nobody's listening, we have no exchange or flow.
Oh, wow. So everything for you is a dance then?
Feels that way.
Yeah, I see it like that now. Oh, and this and then. And oh, it's so beautiful to see life like that. Yeah, it's a very unique way. Thank you for sharing. So I hope you will get through with your message and doing workshops and teaching people this, and yeah. Go. Yeah, I love that way of yeah, it's very unique. If you have any other themes that you would like to bring to us or share or uh, other things like
Well, um, I mean, at the moment, that's the most important piece about empowered partnering.
okay, great.
I'm very interested to, if you won't mind, to share a little bit about Heal Yourself Connection as well.
Ah, now in the episode where it's all about you, I have to talk about me.
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I would be honored if you would share a little bit.
I will share a little piece then because you talked about the self discovery you went through and now I discovered a very unique way to do self discovery with seeing it through the eyes of dancing and just leader and following and oh it's very beautiful and this podcast or YouTube channel, whatever, will be yeah about yeah discovering yourself, and it doesn't matter in which way you do it, by the view of dancing eyes or other ways. There are so many different ways, and that's what I want to share with the world, because for me it was such a gift to get to know myself and just it just changed my life, doing this self-discovery path and still self-discovering on the way and learning from you and seeing oh that's also possible and seeing it from other people, and it's like learning from you and then learn together with the listeners or viewers and they can get inspired to do the same thing, and yeah, I just encourage them to do self-discovery, and I want to share the different possibilities, the teaching parts, or also the people who went through the self-discovery and changed themselves and like that. So the other part of the story, so the teacher and the student part, so you can see both sides, and mostly the students become the teachers, so it's like the circle is round. And yeah, so yeah, that's what Heal Yourself Connection will be about, just by sharing all this wisdom from the self-discovery world and inspire people to do the same. And just there are so many different people, but also so many different self-discovery paths that you can follow. So it's like giving them tools, and they just need to listen and see what resonates with them and follow whatever they want to follow. So yeah, that's my big why I want to do this. But I'm just a Belgian girl, so I'm learning, and I'm learning with you, and I'm so blessed that I can do this, and honored also. So yeah, we'll see what will come from it. It's just I'm just learning on the way.
It's a beautiful approach, and I think that's profound. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you for sharing, so I can learn and I can share it with the world. Allee, we co-create, we share it to the world. Not I, but it's so
providing this beautiful platform and this beautiful theme within your channel to share the different methods of self-discovery that exist in the world. I think that's so powerful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for being a part of this, because it's a very unique way. I never heard from it. So I don't know if you have in the future like dance events or like a book that's coming up or
I hope so. Yes to all of it. Yeah.
Ooh, great, great. I am looking forward to what you will bring further to this world. This is just I don't know how long you're already busy with this seeing of the I call it seeing of the eyes of a dancer, but how long you're already doing this, like, or
Well,
discover it? I don't
I have
know.
to give thanks again to Evolving Out Loud when I went to the event last year in, was it February? Because this idea was in me since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, in March of 2017, I just started the Facebook page. And then in May, I had my first event. Over the summer, I had some coaching over Skype with different people. So I'm still in process of developing programs and ideas and events and things for it. And yes, I want to write a book for it and all of these things. So it still feels young, but I started the sole proprietorship. I have my business license. I still, all these things, but it really was in me waiting. And it was the event that Kyle Cease and his team put on in February last year that helped me get out of my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was really powerful, helping me do that inner work. So you talk about self-discovery and self-reflection, and this was in me already in 2015, but it wasn't coming out in any way yet. So now I'm starting more and more to share. So again, thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. And I love, by the way, the background behind you. I don't know if there are any listeners who cannot see. There's a beautiful mosaic behind you.
I painted it and then I put it on the board. Like I love to paint, and I paint different colors on papers, and then I took the scissor and cut the paper in pieces, and then I just put colors and it's like the chakra colors.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It resonates for me because of the feeling of mosaic.
Oh.
The feeling is, and when you talk about there are so many individuals who go on this spiritual path or find their own way to self-discovery, there are so many facets. It's like you're a gem and I'm a gem, and we have all these different components and parts and pieces that are putting together, and it feel like broken, but in really it's artwork, but
Oh wow, I didn't see it like that. I just started with it when I was doing this self-discovery path the last year, and I knew this I will use it for something, but I don't know what. And I finished it like 2 months ago, and it was like, oh, it's for the podcast and the background. And but you told it very beautiful. Wow, thank you for sharing that and sharing your wisdom. Thank you. Yeah. I have one little last question. It's like a surprise question. Yeah, everything is a surprise, but this is like so nothing about empowered partnering. But it's also a surprise for me, so I have to do it like right now. What will it be? Okay, I think what are you most grateful for today?
Today, I'm most grateful for a willingness to walk a fiery path of confronting my own demons and accepting them. And it isn't easy. to do this self-discovery. So I'm grateful for the courage to look within and dig deep and walk through the fire.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. You said it with so much emotions. Thank you. Well, I think we're done for
Yes.
now. For now.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Jessica, for speaking your wisdom, healing your self-connection, and teaching us about this. And oh yeah, where do we find you? I almost forgot. Very important, because if you're getting like, I don't know where I can find you. We have a website, or for the people, for the listeners. So
there's a website under construction, not up yet, but eventually you'll be able to find me at empoweredpartnering.com.
Yeah.
And then currently I have a Facebook fan page. If you look for @Empowered Partnering, you'll probably see my face. And, you know, I try to share little thoughts now and then about different ways leading and following is showing up in my life or in the world. And I'm eager to hear from each and every one of you how it feels to hold that idea in your mind when you examine your relationship with others, but also your relationship with yourself.
So all go to her Facebook and share.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Okay, thank you. And listeners and viewers, thank you for looking to this. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye, Jessica.
Bye-bye, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.